Welcome to the Survivor to Thriver show with your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Do you feel stuck, silent, and stressed? Is something hurting your heart and soul? Are you burning yourself out? If so, you are in the right place because this is the podcast people from all over the world join in to learn exactly how to stop suffering and start living with inner peace and joy. Let's get started.
Hey, welcome back. Yesterday, we were talking about integrity and how critical and crucial it is for us to maintain our integrity. Integrity at its core is about keeping our word, doing what we say we will do. That is how we build self-trust, self-confidence. It is also how others build their trust and confidence in us. It is absolutely, therefore, critical to our ability to have healthy relationships. Relationships that promote our ability to live with more inner peace and joy. And relationships to help us eliminate suffering from our lives. Particularly in the context of our relationship with ourselves. But every so often, we come across situations where our plans are not going to work out. Because life happens, and we may get thrown an unexpected curveball, and when we're thrown that curveball, we have to deal with it. And in dealing with it, you may need to divert attention and focus away from something else that you had previously committed to. Now, insofar as these things just happen, and they happen in a big hurry, and there's aspects of it that you cannot control, and so you just have to sort of do the best you can to react in the best ways that you can in the moment. That's what you do. But there are other aspects that you may have some control over, where you may have a choice, and some time to think about the choices that you're going to make. So let's say in this scenario, the reason I'm bringing up this issue is, again, because of the experience that I had last week, where I just got extra busy. And it got to a point where I found myself with too much on my plate. And so then I had to begin to make some decisions about, okay, what am I going to continue to engage with and do, and what am I going to leave off my plate? And one of the things that came off my plate was doing the podcast, right? But in this kind of scenario, when you are deciding or trying to decide which of the important things, it's like, okay, I have like two really important things that appear to be in competition with each other insofar as I have limited time And so if I say yes to one and doing one, then I'm saying no to doing the other. How do you know you're making the right decision for yourself? Like, how do you know? Right? Because if you don't know that you're making the right decision, if you are not able to get to a place of feeling comfortable and confident that you have made the right decision for you, then it can really keep you stuck in that place of feeling stressed and thinking and rethinking and double guessing yourself. And even if you make a decision and you follow through on it, later on feeling a sense of regret that, oh, why did I do this? Maybe I should have done the other thing, and you can just get yourself really stuck in that kind of negative spiral. And who wants that? Not you, because you want a life free of suffering. Right? Okay, so if that's true, if you want a life free of suffering, then you need to know the secret to how do we make the best decisions for us, decisions that allow us to feel confident and at peace with regards to the choices that we have made. Now, I already addressed one aspect of the issue in the last episode, right? Where one of the most important things that you need to make sure that you're doing, no matter what decision you make, is that you make that decision from a place of taking responsibility for yourself and what you're experiencing and what you're feeling and what you're thinking, and not blaming and not judging anyone, including yourself. Okay? So it's like whatever decision you make, even if the results in the aftermath of your having made the decision show you that perhaps it wasn't the wisest thing you could have done, even then, as you look back at what happened and what you did, rather than falling into the pattern of blame and judgment, which will destroy your inner peace and joy, which will cause suffering in your life, it is really, really important that we continue to treat ourselves with the utmost compassion and empathy. And we remind ourselves that, hey, now looking back in hindsight, I can make this judgment that, hey, like the decision I made wasn't the wisest. But at that time, I made the best decision that I could with what I knew and what I had. Right? If I had known then what I know now, I wouldn't have made this decision, right? So because I made the best decision that I could have at that time, where's the need for blame and judgment? There is no need for blame and judgment. It's not a helpful way of thinking, and it's not even a very it's not even really right in the sense of the most sensible course of action, the sensible in terms of also like look, it's like, where's your focus? If you're blaming and you're judging, where's your focus? It's like on everything that's negative. Like you're choosing to see the glass half empty, and it's a choice that you're making now, a perspective that you're choosing, but it's not a helpful perspective. And it's not even the only perspective. See, that's the problem with judgments, isn't it? At its core is that when we are in judgment mode, we see things in a very black and white way. We say things are either right or things are wrong. And obviously, if there's something wrong, then you're not going to feel good about it, right? But the problem is that the reality of our lives is that things are not just black and white. There are lots of shades of gray. And so our judgments, even though they may be accurate and valid from the particular perspective that we have taken, they're only valid and making sense within that very narrow perspective and within that very narrow context. They're not ultimate truths. And so, it's like, again, it comes to a play about, you can be right, you can choose to be right, or you can be happy, So you can choose to be right, or you can choose to be happy. And neither choices are wrong, right? I mean, if you choose to be right, you can choose to be right. And it'll give you a certain amount of satisfaction to be right in that kind of context. But I can tell you now that if you choose to be right, if you choose to live in that kind of context, and exist in your life within that kind of context where your perspective on things is a perspective of black and white, you're going to severely restrict and constrain the possibilities of your life and the possibilities of how much control you can have over your own well-being. And you are actually going to really put yourself in a position where it will be really very challenging for you to maintain control over your own mental and emotional well-being, to maintain control over your ability to create and maintain and deepen your experience of inner peace and joy. We have to, if you're going to be in control, if you're going to live lives that are free of suffering, we must, this is not an option, you must broaden your perspective. You must broaden your perspective and be willing to see all the shades of gray and be willing to adjust your perspective and align yourself with those perspectives of the situation that are the most happiness promoting, that are the most peace promoting, because they are focused on the solutions and moving forward rather than on the problems and looking back. You see? So it's not about, I'm going to bury my head in the sand and I'm going to deny reality. No, not at all. See, in the analogy of the glass is half full or the glass is half empty, both things are real. Both things are equally true. The glass is half empty, and at the same time the glass is half full. So you're not being unrealistic or burying your head in the sand or fooling yourself if you choose to focus on the reality that the glass is half full. Right? If you see the glass is half full, you of course know by default, you understand, you are aware of the fact that the glass is also half empty, and vice versa. It's like, where is your focus? Right? Where is your focus? So for sure, there are certain perspectives that we can take of any given situation that will be more peace promoting and happiness promoting, and allow us to let go of our suffering than others. So it's like, what are those perspectives and how do you find them? And I can tell you, those perspectives are the ones where you're not blaming and judging yourself or others. Those are the perspectives where you take responsibility for what you're experiencing and what you are thinking and feeling. And I don't know if I've shared this with you before, but even if I have, I'm going to share it again because I just love this definition of responsibility so much. It's one that I learned from studying Marshall Rosenberg. Marshall Rosenberg, if you don't know about him, he devised this whole area of engagement, of study called nonviolent communication. Right? And nonviolent communication, like just the term nonviolence, a lot of people don't understand it. It's not intuitively understandable. So a lot of people have a lot of misunderstandings about what that means. And you know what? I'm not going to get into trying to clarify the concept of nonviolence right now. So the other way that his style of communication gets described, or the nonviolence idea gets described, is compassionate living, compassionate communication, where you are grounded in your compassionate self and communicating through your most compassionate self. Okay, and as your most compassionate self. And you direct that compassion both towards yourself when you are communicating with yourself and in your communications with others. Right? And it's definitely one of the key requirements of compassionate communication is that we let go of our attitudes of blaming and judging. Okay, and so when we let go of our attitudes of blaming and judging, but we are then taking on responsibility that can truly empower us, and taking on responsibility in a way that can truly empower us and help make us happier and feel more confident and just uplift us rather than make us feel weighed down. Right? Because for a lot of people, a responsibility is like this thing like, oh my God, a responsibility. It's like a weight, a burden on you. And you don't want it, right? But in this context, in this form of communication and living and being, responsibility is simply a recognition of the fact that you are always responsible. So no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what the circumstances are of your life, you recognize that I'm always responsible. You recognize that I'm responsible right now. I'm able to respond to the situation. I'm able to respond to these circumstances and move forward in my life. Move forward towards more inner peace and joy and happiness in my life, right? So this is like a huge lesson to learn. And I can tell you, it's like once I really learned this and began to implement it in my life, it has changed my life. This idea alone has the power to change your life. Okay? So for you, what I would love for you to do between now and the next time we connect is just take a stock of what are some issues that are going on in your life where you may be blaming and judging yourself. Particularly maybe when they're related to decisions that you have made and they have turned out not quite as you would have liked. And then see how you can help yourself shift away from that blame and judgment by focusing on the fact that you are responsible right now. Able to respond to your situation, to your circumstances right now, and do it in a way that promotes your peace and happiness. How can you do that? How can you respond to the situation that you're in so it promotes your peace and happiness? So think about that, and if you find yourself struggling with it, you know what to do. Yes, do not struggle on your own. Reach out for help and support, and I am one person that you can reach out to help and support for, and you know how to reach me. Just go to my website at www.academyofthriving.com. Click on the Contact Us page, and you'll see different options for how you can connect with me. So I look forward to hearing from you, and until we connect next time, I wish you lots of peace and joy.